Another day further into the 2025 offseason means that it's another day further away from this being reality. Yes, the 2024 Boston Celtics are no more, and that's very unfortunate, and I miss them a whole heck of a lot. So if you do too, go down below, hit that thumbs up icon, like today's video, set the good vibes going to start this week. What's going on, Green Teamers? You're watching Celtics Today by Chat Sports. I am your host, Tyler Smith, and we have a triple dose of major news to discuss on today's program, starting with some news that we did hear toward the back end of last week as the Celtics did go ahead and waive JD Davison. Davison, the G League MVP, is no longer eligible for a two-way contract with the Celtics, but could sign one elsewhere or compete for a roster spot, sign an Exhibit 10 or something like that, head to training camp, and try to play with the C's. The Celtics now have an open roster spot, but there is no move imminent at this point. The C's have 14 guys on the active roster, and that is all that you will need in order to fulfill the NBA's roster requirements. Now, the reason that they did this is because, well, they were over the second apron, and by waiving JD Davison, the C's are now under the second apron by roughly around $2 million, and that's why this is really major news. It's why it's like really being brought up on today's video at all, because if the C's are just waving JD Davison for no good reason, then I don't know, maybe I would have just left it like the YouTube short that we made last week. But I wanted to talk a little bit more about it today because this is pretty big implications for the Celtics. They can now aggregate contracts in a trade, and for those of you who have been paying attention and know that the C's are kind of not married to Anfernee Simons or George Niang, like those trades could be coming down the pipeline. So it's good to see that the Celtics have a little bit more flexibility now. They're not going to be a second apron team heading into the next campaign. As for JD Davison, though, he does already have a couple of plans already mapped out as he has signed a deal with another team. Chris Haynes came in and reported this just a couple days ago that free agent guard JD Davison has reached an agreement with the Houston Rockets, and it is a two-way deal for JD. So congrats to him, and happy that he found a home relatively quickly after the C's kind of just let him go by the wayside. So nice to see that he'll be competing at least at some level in the league this year. He was a part of that 2024 championship squad, so whatever contributions that he made, like he contributed to the Celtics being NBA champions last season. He was also the G League MVP this past year. He averaged like 25, 8, and 6. Like it was pretty dirty numbers, but was really never able to find his footing or find a carved out spot in the Celtics rotation during his tenure. He was a G League first teamer obviously this past year, and then in his first year or second year in the league, he was a G League all third team. So this is a player who a lot of people are pretty high on. Drew Holiday spoke very highly of him, and there are definitely some things to like. Uber athlete, sees the floor very well, can get up and down, but was just really never going to find a spot on that Celtics rotation. So Celtics is going to give him an opportunity to find that opportunity elsewhere, and then they clean up their salary books just a little bit heading into this season. And this is why you subscribe to the channel. No matter how big, no matter how small the Celtics roster move is, we are going to cover it and bring you guys all the latest, detail everything that you need to know on this program. So make sure you are subscribed to the channel. That red button down below, it's 100% free to click, and turn your notifications on as well so you know exactly when we post a video right here at Celtics Today. All right, let's get into the next piece of news. The next dose in the triple dose of good news is Neemias Queta going to be the starting center heading into next season. And I know this isn't necessarily great news for a lot of Celtics fans. We know the front court has been depleted. Al Horford is basically on his way to the Golden State Warriors in free agency. You trade away Kristaps Porzingis, and Luke Kornet goes and gets a bag from the San Antonio Spurs. That leaves Neemias Queta as the lone true center that returns from the 2024-25 Boston Celtics. And we heard from a mailbag over the weekend from Brian Robb over at MassLive, a very tapped-in Celtics insider. He came out with this and said, Neemias Queta feels like the frontrunner at center, given the continuity and the fact that someone needs to be able to rebound on this team. Like, with the loss of JT and with losing all the front court members that basically took up the entire rotation last year, there are not a lot of capable rebounders on this roster. And even a guy like Drew Holiday, who is a solid rebounding guard, he's off the squad now too. So multiple holes on this roster as far as being able to clean the glass. And Neemias Queta probably is your best bet to be able to go out there and do so. In the limited action that he got in his first season in Boston, he was averaging a solid 4.5 rebounds per game. And look, I'll be fair. A lot of the times that Neemias Queta was in 23-24 and even the good part of 24-25 was in blowout situations, garbage time scenarios. Like, he was never really seen as the go-to rotation center this past year because the C's had solid bodies ahead of him in the depth chart. But as far as who's competing with him now for spots, like, it ain't the prettiest group of names out there. Like Luka Garza is, a solid true center. Then we go over to Xavier Tillman, who's literally 6'7". I don't know if his knees are even intact right now either. I'm not even so sure that he's that capable of an NBA player at this point. And then Amari Williams, your second-round rookie, he didn't even get that much run in Summer League. So it really feels like a two-dog race right now to open at the 5 for Boston this season, Luka Garza and Neemias Queta. But I'll say this, I don't expect there to be a true 82-game starting center. When you look at that group right there, you can't be too confident that any of those guys is going to emerge as an every single night type of reliable player. When you think about Luka Garza and what he can provide for you offensively and the skill in the post, and probably the court vision's a little bit better than Neemias Queta. If you're looking to attack teams more offensively at the center position, maybe some nights you'll go out there and start Luka Garza. But if you're really prioritizing rebounding, or if there's a solid, dominant low post big that you're matching up against, then Neemias Queta is easily going to be the guy that you roll with in that starting 5 and playing the majority of the minutes that night. I could easily see these two guys flipping their roles night in and night out, and the C's kind of just going matchup based for their center position. I'm not too confident in either one to do the job at a super high level, but I like that the C's have different options here to go with based on matchups. And with that being said, who would you guys start day one in the starting lineup? Regardless of matchup, who do you guys just think is the better overall player and fit in the C's starting 5? If it's Neemias Queta, you want the continuity, give me an NQ. If you're just trying to take a flyer on Luka Garza and see what he can give you on the offensive end, give me an LG down in the comments section, and let me know what you guys think. Give me a reason why as well. We'll talk the last dose of Celtics news in just a moment. Make sure you guys get hooked up with this awesome, awesome t-shirt commemorating the good times back in 24 when the C's were dropping confetti from the TD Garden. This shirt was literally $38, nearly a $40 t-shirt. Now it's $17, and the sizes are running out fast. So go get yours today at this link right here. Chatsports.com/champ sale. That's chatsports.com/champ sale. And don't worry, you don't have to type all that out. I put that link in the comment section and description of today's video to make it easy for you guys. Go get yourself a Celtics 2024 championship t-shirt today. Alrighty, we got one more piece of Celtics news to discuss in just a moment. It's regarding the trade rumors that have kind of been around the bend basically since the C's made their moves back in June, and that is flipping Anfernee Simons and Georges Niang. Now, is this going to happen imminently? Well, we don't know just yet. I do believe, though, that the Celtics are still fielding offers for both of these two players. They are not married to either one. Neither has played a game in Celtic green just yet, so we'll see if these guys end up getting dealt before the season begins. But Brett Siegel of Clutch Points came out and said this about the Celtics' prospects of making a trade here in the near future. He said the Boston Celtics have remained active on the trade market this offseason, even after trading for Simons and Georges Niang. While they have talked with teams about both players, the Celtics will likely enter the season with these two on the roster. It is very possible that Simons and or Niang could be flipped to cut costs at the trade deadline, depending on where Boston is in the Eastern Conference standings. The Celtics do want to see how Simons fits in Joe Mazzulla's system, though, as he is a player they are intrigued by, given his three-point shooting prowess. Look, the Simons does have a lot of range, and he's a really twitchy athlete as well. I am curious to see what he can do in a winning environment, but what this tells me is that the right trade just has not come along at this point. I do believe that Brad Stevens is working the phones, is gouging the level of interest around the league. But at this point in the offseason, it is an awkward time to kind of get these deals done, right? A lot of these teams are already kind of carved out what their rotations are going to look like. Not a lot of teams are looking to make moves after they've already done so this offseason. So we'll see if either of these two guys ends up getting moved before the season begins. But as of right now, it just doesn't look like that's going to be the case. But I will say this. It is a little weird that there has been no introductory press conference yet for either of these two players. I mean, they were traded for well over a month ago at this point. So that is a little bit, why haven't they done it? They if they're anticipating them being on the roster to start this season, then we should probably get them in their names and numbers accordingly and get them talking to the media for the first couple of times. Georges Niang has talked about it a little bit, but that's all been on podcasts and stuff like that. There's been no real formal media introduction for these two players as Celtics, which makes me believe that there's still a good chance that they could be moved before the season begins. Now, from the Simons standpoint, I really do believe that really no matter where the Celtics are, they're going to look to move him just to try to do their best to avoid fat repeater tax penalties at the end of the season. Because, I don't think that Anfernee Simons swapped out for Drew Holiday and then just losing Porzingis, losing Horford, losing Kornet is going to keep you level in even a wide-open Eastern Conference this upcoming season. I just don't think that Anfernee Simons is that much of a ceiling raiser heading into this year. You lose Tatum, you lose Holiday, you lose Porzingis, Horford, and Cornette, and you basically just replace them with Anfernee Simons and George Niang and Josh Minott and Luka Garza. Like that is really, really concerning. So I would bet that Anfernee Simons is trading during the season because the C's are not going to be all that competitive, in my opinion. If you guys believe that the Celtics can be a top 5 seed in the Eastern Conference as currently constructed, you tell me why down in the comment sections. But as of right now, it seems to me that it's more likely than not that they'll either be in the play-in or miss the postseason entirely next season. So that brings me to this question, which could cause for Anfernee Simons to be traded potentially sooner and get lesser assets back and be closer to getting more lottery balls. What do you guys think is better? To be in the lottery and have a chance at a top selection in next year's draft, or to be the 8th seed and try your luck against one of the Titans in the Eastern Conference and probably get bounced in that first round? You comment below what you guys think would be better watching next season. And while you do that, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Lock us in for your number one source for Celtics offseason content all summer long, into the regular season, into the postseason, if they can make it there. We'll see you guys all in the next one. And as always, let's go C's.